Hey, it is Quadix here, and I'm here with the next part. The like goal will be 500 likes for the next part tomorrow. Check out my other quality what ifs. The link to all playlists of all the what ifs I've done will be in the description. Check out the community tab. I will be using that for polls to select what videos I do and more. Please like, comment, Q, or any other comments you may have. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into it. By the way, this might be a bit shorter since the other two went over 20 minutes and they took a while to upload, and I want to make this on time, and I'm also starving. I haven't had dinner. Let's get into it. Naruto's eyes opened as soon as the alarm had set rang. His hand reached out and shut the damn alarm clock. Waking up at 5:30 in the morning left him plenty of time to get ready. He finished his morning ritual in 10 minutes and dressed in his normal orange jumpsuit. He went to the fridge and pulled out two bananas, peeling one and eating it at a comfortable pace, followed by the second. He finished and looked up at the clock. 5:50. Best get going, he thought. He went up and out of the door, making sure to lock it properly. He hid the key inside the potted plant near the staircase. He exited the building and ran towards the grounds. The sun was just beginning to rise, so the air was still cool as it hit the surface. He smiled as he increased the pace and reached the ground with 1 minute to spare. He was surprised to see that just as he reached the ground, his teacher also reached at the same time. Her eyes showed surprise at his appearance, but she gestured him to follow her. They arrived in the training ground after Anko said to the guards they were authorized to use it. Arriving at the middle of the ground, she said, "Sit down, brat. Introduce yourself." Naruto frowned at the way she used it, but she said it, but did it anyways. Naruto Uzumaki, age 5 years, likes reading and training. Dislikes are people who can't differentiate between a kunai and a sealing scroll. Hobbies are none of your business. Dream is to become the strongest Hokage ever. He began to monotone, became slightly rude in the middle, and finished it with a grin and a thumbs up. Anka grinned in a savage way for his introduction. Not many people had the guts to be rude to her, but this brat had no problem doing it. Time to instill the fear, she thought maliciously. Grabbing his collar, she jerked them forward until they were nose to nose. In a deadly whisper, she said, "I don't like brats like you who think that just because they're getting special treatment, they're above others." Naruto replied, unfazed. "And just because you're older and more powerful than me doesn't mean you have to be rude." Anko smirked and let go of Naruto, who sat back down. "I like you, kid, which means that I won't go easy on you. Get up and give me 10 rounds of this ground, fast." And so began his training. For a whole 4 weeks, she just concentrated on his physical condition. She wanted to be physically fit for what she was about to mold him into. She was surprised at how obedient Naruto followed her commands. Whatever she told him, he did it without question. She ran him into their ground every day. So exhausted he was that as soon as she announced that the training for the day was over, he would collapse onto the ground, unable to move. She always carried him back to his home and laid him on his bed. She also left him a bento every time, knowing he didn't have the energy to cook. Kurama always woke him up to eat. Naruto thanked her profusely every time, but she always waved them away, saying it was the duty of a sensei to take care of their students. She didn't want him to know that she was growing fond of him. That would be embarrassing. Another good thing that both Naruto and Anko didn't know was that every time Naruto came back exhausted, Kurama always healed him up with his chakra. The good thing about this was that after every session, Naruto muscles would be stronger than before, requiring much more to exhaust them. Today is the day he would learn about chakra control, and he was excited as hell. After his usual 15 rounds of the ground, Anko increased them. Anko decided he was satisfactorily warmed up and began explaining chakra control. "Alright, kid, the first step to controlling chakra is to take a leaf and use your chakra to stick it to your forehead like this," she said, demonstrating the exercise. Naruto nodded before picking up a leaf from the ground and keeping it on his forehead, and imagining his chakra creating suction at the point where the leaf touched his forehead. Surprisingly, it took him only 3 tries to get the amount of chakra right. On the fourth try, the leaf was easily sticking to his forehead, and he stood there smiling proudly. He knew he would have good chakra control due to his lack of chakra coils. Using chakra for the first time felt really good. He simply had to imagine how his chakra flowed and sort of command it to do so, and voila, task complete. Anka stood there gaping at Naruto. Most kids took 4 to 5 days to get this exercise right, and this kid had done it in 5 minutes. Absolutely unbelievable and outright ridiculous. She decided the term normal even applied to this kid. She thought with a twitching eyebrow, "Hey, Anka Sensei, now that I've got it, what's next?" Naruto asked with a grin. At this point, he was keeping the leaf stick with only minimal concentration. Anka grinned, a grin that Naruto never liked. It always meant now. Oh, it always meant his doom. "Now," she said, taking out shuriken. "Keep that leaf stuck and dodge these." With that, she threw the shuriken at him. It was only his danger sense that saved him from being skewered. This continued for almost 15 minutes, and at the end of that, Naruto was heavily panting. She looked like he almost wanted to kill him, he thought, drawing deep breaths. Anko looked proud. "Well done, Naruto. You successfully dodged the shuriken and kept the leaf stuck to your forehead. Take a 5-minute break." Not many, no scratch that. No, one managed that on their first try. It was starting to look that the kid was born to be a shinobi. She contemplated if she should teach Naruto the tree walking exercise next. A relatively difficult exercise, a getting level in fact. But Naruto wasn't even in the academy. Still doesn't hurt to try, right? After the 5-minute break was over, she called Naruto and they both walked towards the tree. "Your next exercise would be to climb this tree with only your feet," she said. Naruto gave her a quizzical look. "Isn't that kind of impossible, Sensei?" Anko rolled her eyes, lightly bonked him at the back of his head. "With the aid of chakra, honestly, where does your intelligence go sometimes? Out of your head?" Naruto rubbed the back of his head and laughed sheepishly. Anko then demonstrated the exercise. This is kind of similar to the leaf sticking exercise, except you're sticking yourself to a tree instead of sticking to a leaf. If you use too little chakra, your foot won't stick. You use too much chakra, you get blasted off the tree. Begin. You can use running start if you want. That would be absolutely pointless unless you have the amount of chakra in your leg right, thought Naruto as he walked to the tree and put his right foot on the bark, regulating the amount of chakra required to stick. After he got it right, he kept in mind the amount of chakra and carefully pushed the same amount into his left leg. Taking a deep breath, he lifted his leg and put it on the bark, not loosening concentration on his right leg. A huge smile appeared on his face as he successfully stuck to the bark. Tentatively, he took the next step and managed not to fall off. He continued this until he reached the top of the tree. Uncle watched all of this with her jaw on the ground, Dango long forgotten. There was no possible explanation as to how Naruto managed to walk up the entire tree in 5 minutes of learning the exercise. Then she released a sigh and sighed. "I don't even know anymore." This became the norm for everything Naruto mastered tree walking in 2 hours, water walking in 4 hours, and spinning a kunai above his hand with chakra in 1 day, all the while dodging Anko's shuriken and kunai. It was now time to give the monthly report to the Hokage. "What?" he asked blankly. "It's true, Hokage-sama," Anko insisted. The smoking pipe had long since fallen out of his mouth. This had to be some kind of genjutsu. There's no way Naruto mastered all chakra control exercises in 2 days. Anko was a very deadly kunoichi, so any student she took in this case, Naruto had high standards to meet. But for Anko to say that Naruto did all of that in just 2 days, it was too much. He had no doubt that Naruto was very physically capable, but he had an Uzumaki heritage, and as such, he had a monstrous reserve of chakra that could not be matched by one of his age. He expected Naruto to have problems in controlling his chakra, but from Anko's report, it looked like he had an excellent control of his chakra. Anko then slowly asked him, knowing the Hokage was rattled to his bones by the news. Hokage-sama, can I have your permission to start teaching him ninjutsu and taijutsu? Granted. Naruto stood in his father's library, looking at the volumes of Fuinjutsu his mother had left for him. He picked up the first volume and left the house. Anko had very generously given the next day off to him, which he planned to make full use of. For some reason, he thought that Anko was very surprised at the speed at which he mastered those exercises. He had been asking her when he could start learning ninjutsu and taijutsu, but she always said that first he needed to build up endurance and stamina. After closing the door to his apartment, he set the thick book on the dining table and entered his bedroom, falling asleep. It was a late night after all, and sneaking around made him tired, especially after his sadistic sensei training. His alarm rang at 7 next morning. Waking up, he did his morning routine and made himself some breakfast. That reminds me, the stock that Gigi gave me will be finished soon. I need to go shopping, he thought. After breakfast, he picked up the Fuinjutsu volume and started reading. He finished it in 4 hours, including the test that his mother wrote for him at the end of the book. I didn't know Fuinjutsu was this easy, he thought in confusion as he checked the answers of his test. It's not. You're insane, kid, Kurama grumbled. He had been seeing and hearing Fuinjutsu since the Tree Huggers era, and frankly, it annoyed the hell out of him. Oh, Tree Hugger is the first Hokage. Okay. He was much more suited to perform acts of destruction than delicate writings. Naruto easily ignored him and finished checking the answers. All of them correct. No surprise there, he thought smugly. Photographic memory was so useful. He finished another volume the same day, with the same result on the test at the end of the book. 8 hours of Fuinjutsu was mentally exhausting, he thought. He just slept the rest of the day, waking up only to make and eat dinner, and fall asleep again. The next day, Anko started his taijutsu training. I'm going to teach you my style of fighting, Naruto. The snake style requires you to be light and flexible, capable of quick strikes and counterattacks and waving in between them. She then grabbed Naruto's collar. You will learn and master this style in 1 year. Brat, or even Kami won't be able to save you from my wrath, she threatened, enforcing her threat with a bit of killing intent. It had absolutely no effect whatsoever on him since he had already had a taste of Kurama's killing intent. However, he nodded vigorously. Anko was pretty terrifying, even without killing intent. The next morning, he spent learning taijutsu and ninjutsu simultaneously. Due to his photographic memory and the peculiar ability of his body, he progressed quickly in taijutsu. He found that even though it was formidable style, the snake style did not have the symbolization of all 5 elements. Ninjutsu, on the other hand, he felt like he was born to do. It took him only 5 tries to master the hinge no jutsu, and 9 tries to master the kawarimi. 2 days later, he had mastered the seal-less kawarimi. But no matter how hard he tried, even with his excellent chakra control, he could not perform the bunshin no jutsu. Eventually, Anko got so fed up that they took the matter to the Hokage, who suggested that the Kagebunshin no Jutsu would be more suited for Naruto. Considering how large his chakra reserves were, it would be impossible for him to squeeze a drop of it that was required to perform the bunshin. Now, I'm gonna end it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know I left it off in weird position, but I need to eat, and this was, if you add up all 3 episodes, it was 1 hour. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. I don't think I'm uploading again tonight. Bye.